John. Before I introduce our speaker today, I just would like to say that I've known Ann for about 15 years now. When I was at District 150, she is the type of worker that she is. She has an incredible work ethic, I think, and she has a lot of, I would call, compassion towards staff members, towards kids, children in general. She just has those gifts, and I just want to preface that before I introduce her today. Dr. Ann Bond is the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services for Peoria Public Schools, where she oversees special education, early childhood, multilingual learning, alternative education, and social emotional learning. And she also has state and federal grants as well. She has served in the public education for more than 25 years as a teacher, principal, director, and central office leader. Ann holds a Doctor of Education from Illinois State University and degrees in education and sociology from Bradley University. She's a state-approved Director of Special Education and teaches as an adjunct professor at Bradley. Her work is focused on building strong systems to support students and families, and she has been recognized with honors such as ISB's Those Who Excel Administrator of the Year and 40 Leaders Under 40. She also serves on several community boards and advisory groups. Please welcome my friend, Ann Bond.
Thank you. I just have to say, I could probably sit here all day and just listen and watch. The students that are here, amazing. All of your bantering and laughter, and this team here, this table here, makes me think of some of my principals that I can always count on to do that like slow clap when everyone, and you're just like, oh my God. So I could really just be a part of this, I think, for a while. So yeah, I mean, maybe this is very nice. So thank you for having me. This is such an honor. It's a very unique experience to be standing here talking to you all. Usually, you know, I want to make sure my staff are here and my kids are here, being the ones that are talking about what is going on in the school district and how things are moving along. So it's kind of unique to be the one standing here talking with you. So thank you for that opportunity. Keep me on time because I could probably just keep going and going. Yeah, I have, you know, a range of different experiences in my time here in Peoria Public Schools, and I thought, oh, maybe I would just share some things that are going on right now and maybe tie them back to some of the things that, you know, I've been through over the years in the district, if that's okay with you. And if you have questions, just raise your hand and say, hey, what about? So when I started in Peoria Public Schools, I was a teacher at Valeska Hinton. Valeska Hinton is an early childhood center, and back then it had just gotten started. So they had 6-week-old children. So it was 6 weeks to first grade is who was there. 6 weeks, yeah. And so I was at Bradley at the time, and Bradley at the time had a professional development school. And so they were connected to like 4 or 6 schools in the district at the time. And so they really liked those of us who were doing observations and doing research and things to get out into those schools. So at the time, Valeska was where I spent most of my time, although I was also at Ting and Whittier and Franklin and different places. And so I got to be there kind of at the ground level. And who was there leading the charge at that time was Mr. Ken Hinton. And I don't know if any of you know Mr. Hinton or aware of Mr. Hinton, but he was the leader there. He was building that school with the team. And so I got to see all that like as an undergrad, and I just wanted to share that and give him some honor in that, because it's really because of those formative years for me as a teacher that has instilled in me different pieces that I bring along with me as I approach things and I make decisions and I talk with people, it really stems from Mr. Hinton and Valeska Hinton at the time. So I just wanted to share that and give him props. So over the years was there and then was principal at Franklin Primary School, and then 7 years ago, here I was living my best life at Franklin, loving being a principal, absolutely loved being a principal. I had spent 15 years at Valeska in different roles in teacher and coordinator and principal. And then at the time we had a superintendent who said, you know what, if you ever want to keep moving in the district, you know, you're gonna have to do something besides early childhood, because this is just not, you know, people won't take you seriously. I'm like, okay, I'm just here to serve kids. Like, I just want to serve people, you know, and she's like, I really think you need something else. Okay. So she plucked me out of Valeska and moved me to Franklin Primary School, which is on Columbia Terrace, if any of you know Franklin. And so here I am moving from this building with kids of 6 weeks to first grade, and I'm going to Franklin. And Franklin is kindergarten through 5th grade at the time. It's K4 now, but it was K5 at the time. And I'm like, whose idea was this? It was a terrible idea. So moved to Franklin, not really thrilled about it. However, once I got there, I was there for 6 years. And again, I thought everything was going fine. I was loving it, doing my thing, making connections. We had a lot of community members that were coming into Franklin. My goal was really to make sure our community understood all the good things that were happening within our building, because there were so many good things happening in our building. Our staff are amazing. They still are. Many are still there today. Absolutely amazing, who pour everything they have into our families and into our kids. So anyway, moving along, doing that, and it's the summertime. After 6 years, I'm getting ready for year 7. There's a point to this. I'm getting ready for year 7, and I'm with my daughter. As a matter of fact, one of the Dunlap students said she's going into neuroscience, right? Somebody's going into, okay, so my daughter majored in neuroscience, and then she did her MD, PhD. And so at the time, so we can talk if you'd like. So at this time, I was moving her to Phoenix to work on the PhD side. So it's break, it's summer, I'm there, and I get a phone call from my boss, so somebody at central office. And I'm like, this is not a good sign when somebody's calling you in the middle of the summer. And so I answer, and she's like, hi, what are you doing? And I'm like, trying out mattresses. I'm in a mattress store, like trying to find a mattress for my daughter. And she's like, oh, we have this idea. We really would like you to consider moving out of Franklin and being director of special education for the district. And I'm like, well, there's a thought. There's a nice idea. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just a nightmare, like an absolute nightmare. But it's the same way I felt when I left Valeska, and everything turned out fine at Franklin. And then I'm like, can't leave Franklin. And then, you know, so you get the point here. So I'm like, okay, sounds great, I'll do it. So that was 7 years ago, and transitioned into director of special education. And I just wanted to share, special education in Peoria Public Schools is something that I think is maybe, I don't know, is misunderstood or just not fully understood, or not sure exactly what it is. But when I transitioned into that role, I was absolutely 100% mesmerized by the work and the different roles that we have in our school district. And I had worked in the district for how long already, and I was still absolutely mesmerized. And so I just want to share a little bit about this with you, because there could even be people down the road, maybe some students even from our department, who you might want to hear from at some point, possibly, I don't know. But I wanted to share, we have social workers, we have school psychologists, I mean like 20 social workers, like 15 school psychologists. We have like 15 CODAs, occupational therapy assistants. We have 3 occupational therapists. We have a physical therapist. We have physical therapy assistants, language. We have job coaches for kids who have disabilities who are looking for jobs. We have job coaches and work coordinators. We have teachers, of course. We have teachers, we have teacher aides. I mean, you get the point, like there's so many people, counselors and speech language pathologists, it's unbelievable. And nurses. Every building has a nurse now, and it didn't used to be that way. When I was at Franklin, I had a nurse, and I was lucky if I had her for maybe half the day. Some years she was split between 3 or 4 buildings. Now every single building has a nurse. So there's just a lot of things that have kind of evolved over the years. But I just want to point out the district has incredible support when students have special needs identified. We really do have a lot of support for them. It's a very, very good program overall, and we have a wide range of supports for them and different types of learning settings for them. So it's wonderful. We also have a lot of surrounding school districts pay tuition to us to send their children to us. Especially kids who are deaf and hard of hearing. We have a really strong program. It's actually the strongest program outside of the Chicago area. It's noted around the state. So people are sending their kids to us for that program in particular. So anyway, I could go on and on just gushing over the department and the kids and the families, and I could do this all day. So there's that component, and I just wanted to bring that to light to you because there's so many good things happening in that arena. And then we have some other things too. I've had the opportunity to take on some additional roles over the last few years, and one is social emotional learning. So I do a lot of stuff with that within our schools, and I could talk about that, which I won't, but there's that, which I really enjoy. The alternative settings, that is something that I'm really proud of. So one of the things we noticed is sometimes we have kids who are displaying challenging behaviors in our schools, and sometimes the thought is, well, they must have a disability. You know, they're just acting crazy and doing all these crazy things. They must have a disability. And sometimes they do have a disability of some sort. That might be what's happening, and we can work with them. But sometimes they actually don't have a disability. Sometimes, you know, there's a lot of different factors moving into this, but it a lot of times is connected to trauma-based pieces that they're kind of navigating and working through. And so what we learned several years ago is we don't have a whole lot of options for some of our kids who maybe don't fit, that's not the right word, but they're maybe just not finding success in a traditional school setting. Let's say that. We have opportunities for middle school and high school, and we've had those opportunities for some time. And we've also had, years ago, we did have some alternative settings at Woodruff years and years ago. It was pretty limited for primary even then. So we went through this stretch of time where we really didn't have any options for our kids. And so myself and a couple of my colleagues developed a program, so it's called Rise Academy. And if you ever hear about Rise Academy, just know it's awesome. So many amazing things going on in there. But what happens is we might have kids, kindergarten through 5th grade. They're displaying challenging behaviors. We put interventions in place for them in their schools. It's still not really helping. We put a different type of intervention in place. Still, things are not quite where they need to be. So we keep doing this. It's like a cycle. And then there may get to a point where we have understood and figured out this is not a special education need, but this child does have some sort of needs that need addressed. And so Rise Academy has been open now for 3 or 4 years. So now they go there. And Rise is in the former Quest building, former Lauk School on University and McClure, right there. So that's Glenn Barton School now, and just opened this year. And Glenn Barton houses Rise Academy. So we have about 60 some kids there, K-5. Also in that school, we have kind of an alternative setting for kids who have disabilities, who have emotional disabilities. And they also have tried several different options for settings that just don't really work for them. And this is called day treatment. So it's a therapeutic day school for some of our kids who have really, really high severe needs, like behavioral needs. That program is also in that school. And then we also have a third program in that building, which is a transition academy. So we have students who have IEPs, they have individualized education plans through special education, and they finish their high school coursework, they finish their high school career, but by law, they can still receive special education services from the school district until they turn 22, the age of 22. So we have a transition academy over here at Glen Barton, and it's got a fully functional kitchen, and it's got like a workshop in there and all sorts of things. They can have little businesses started, and they're learning life skills, they are learning job skills. So these are like 18 to 22-year-olds who are in that program. And so it's kind of a diverse mixture of kiddos in this, and young adults in this particular building, but it's really unique and really special. And of course, you would always be welcome to come and tour and walk around and get to meet some of our kids if you would ever choose to do so. So there's that. And then do I have a few more minutes? I want to tell about multicultural real quick. Yes? Okay. Last thing is also I've had the opportunity in the last year-ish, year and a half, to now I oversee the multilingual department in our school district also, and I am not multilingual. I speak no other language other than English, although I wish I did speak other languages, but I don't. I took 4 years of French in high school, and I don't remember anything, which is not great to admit. So, but nonetheless, so the multilingual department, now I've learned so much. There again, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just constantly mesmerized by our district, by our kids, and our staff there are just tremendous. So anyway, we opened another school. So we had Glen Barton that just opened the school year, and we also opened the Multicultural Dual Language Academy. And so I want to tell you quickly about that school. So this school is in a former Quest building as well. It's on Boots Avenue, and it is a program, it's kindergarten through 4th grade, and the kids in the program, half of the students, their primary language is English, and then half of the students, their primary language is Spanish in each grade level. And so they have literally half of their instruction during the day in English and half of the instruction in their day in Spanish. I tell you what, I was there this morning, I was there yesterday. It is absolutely mind-boggling how, I think we probably all know this, but these young children are just, they're immersed. They are immersed in this. So our kids whose primary language is Spanish, they're picking up English like it's nobody's business and talking to their peers whose English is their primary language, just like, oh, hi. And our kids who English is their primary language, I walked in today, I had no idea what was going on. Because they're all speaking Spanish. I mean, the kids whose primary language is English, they're speaking Spanish. And even just in a few short months, I'm looking at these children like, wow, you could not do this before. The teacher is speaking primarily in Spanish, and they're all like doing what they, they're following directions, they're doing what they need to do, and I have no idea what's going on. I can't understand what they're saying, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So that's also a new school that has opened up. It's very unique. It's a really special place. So there again, if that's anything any of you would ever be interested in seeing, I'd love to take you around and introduce you to any of those programs. I would absolutely love it. So those are kind of some key pieces. I don't know if that sparks any ideas for you or any questions that you might have.
Okay, we'll go around with the microphone. Thank you very much. I had a quick question. How do you measure the long-term success of all of these different programs? And I guess what metrics are you using for success?
Yes, that is a great question. So Peoria Public Schools is data rich. We collect data like you would not believe. Everything from test scores to program usage to critical benchmark data to attendance data to discipline data, all those pieces. So depending on the program is, the answer differs depending on what program we're talking about, but primarily, so for example, for the alternative program, we are measuring that success by their discipline. They get like discipline referrals, out of school suspension data, in school suspension data, how have those things changed? We also have some like SEL, social emotional learning rubrics and things that we're doing with kids, and we can track that data and see their progress on that. Also the academics we can track as well. So that's just an example of how we're tracking the success of the program, because it's huge. We know, and Valeska Hinton's a good example of this question. Here's why I say that. When Valeska was, and you probably remember this for sure, when Valeska was built, that question came up all the time. And when I was principal there, it came up all the time. How do we know this is actually working? How do you know you have all these classrooms for 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds and even birth to 3? How do you know that's actually working? And it's like, that's a very good question, because you have to do like longitudinal data to really see the long-term effects of some of these programs. That's a long answer. So the short answer is we have lots of data and we can see snippets so that we can see short-term, like, wow, we see that improvement, we see that improvement, we see that improvement. But I think we're gonna have to see some long-term data to really fully understand the impact of these programs. If that makes sense.
I just want to first of all say thank you. My wife is a teacher and she's now going back to get her administrative license.
Oh, good.
And I just want to acknowledge, when you first started talking, you highlighted your experience as a teacher. Yeah. And I think having that experience is so important, because when you get to that administrative level, if you haven't done the work, it's really hard to understand some of the intricacies that go into supporting those students, supporting those families. And I just appreciate your gratitude towards Mr. Hinton. I think if you're from this area, you know the work, you know the history, and I think that's so important. We're an area that takes pride in supporting children and families, and just your acknowledgement of that as a leader really speaks to me, so I appreciate that. As a leader, you support the staff, you support the students. From the community side, it's so easy. I haven't been in school in 20 years. Many of us haven't been for maybe a little bit longer, not calling anybody out. What can we do from the community side that you haven't talked about today that's very tangible to support these different programs, to support the children, to support the families, to support the staff?
Thank you for asking that. I think there's some quick things that can be done for sure. One is just being curious and interested and being willing to come visit the schools. You don't have to bring anything or do anything, but just showing the interest means a lot. And giving us the opportunity to walk you around and have you meet some of our kids and our staff and our families. I mean, for so many of us, that makes a tremendous impact on what we do, and encourages us to keep going on some of, because you'll have moments and days where you're like, what am I actually doing? Like, this is rough. And so knowing that there are people out in the community that are like, yeah, I got you. Like, you don't have to do anything. But then there's also opportunities where it's like, wow, if you want to come in and read, great. If you want to come in and help serve food on Grandparents' Day, awesome. If you want to come in and do whatever, I mean, that's fine. That's great, and we would appreciate any of those things. But truthfully, just the basic, like, I'd love to just come by and walk around your hallways and talk to you and meet kids. That truthfully means a lot.
So, two-parter here.
Yeah.
It's gonna require a slow clap.
With 3 sections.
We got you.
Okay.
So, you mentioned early on that every 6 or 7 years we get this phone call. So,
Yeah.
I think you said we're about year 7. What do you think that next phone call is going to be? And the second part of that is, are you answering that call?
I know, those phone calls get real weird, real tricky. I don't know.
Where do you see the need of the district, you think?
I don't know. It's funny because, yeah, all of the transitions for me specifically that I have encountered, I guess I had thoughts about some of these things down the road, way down the road, years and years down the road, but someone else sees something and they're like, it's probably time to do a little shift-a-roo, give you a little different experience and try a little something different. And so you just say, okay, even if you don't think you're really ready for it. So I have no idea. I didn't expect any of those things, so I don't know what will come. But my hope is, at bare minimum, I can just continue to support, our department and all the staff and kids and families, and provide some stability here in the next course of time. I mean, we have a new superintendent coming in at some point. We have a superintendent search going. So I want to be, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I want to be provide like a stable force, because anybody who's worked in the school district knows, when a new superintendent comes in, it can be, it's kind of hard to know what will happen. And so you just kind of buckle up and hope for the best. And I just want to be somebody that's in the midst of all that, as people are trying to figure out their footing and all that good stuff. I just want to somehow provide some calm and stability, and that's my hope. So, yeah.
Thanks. You just touched on what I was going to ask you about the new superintendent.
Yeah.
And I wonder, first of all, do you have any inside information on how that process is going? And second, what would you look for in the new superintendent? I asked that question because I got an email as a community leader asking my input into what type of person the district should look for, and I'd be really interested in hearing your perspective.
Yeah, that is a great question. Truthfully, I hope it is somebody who is willing to listen, to really genuinely listen and learn from people, who is in our school buildings regularly and has a good pulse on like reality of what is going on in our buildings. Good and not so good, really have a firm grasp on all of that, but also just listen and build the trust, and then trust who your colleagues, your district family, like really having somebody that they trust us and we trust them. I think we'll be able to move forward in a good way if we can do that. So those are some key things I hope comes our way.